Thanks so much for everybody for joining us today. This is part of our Eastham Focus series. So today, we're very happy to have staff from the town's Recreation and Beach Department. So they're going to update us on the many programs and projects that they're anticipating this year and into next year, because before you know it, it's going to be beach season again, but they're also going to let us know about the many other recreational facilities and services that the town has to offer. So without further ado.
For you guys for joining us in person, you get a couple handouts,
Wow.
but this is essentially just like getting to know us a little bit better. The spreadsheet shows all of our programs that we run during the year. This is an ever-changing list, and typically, we also get a lot of people who like to volunteer for us. And from there, they get to put on programs that they're interested in kind of running. But essentially, we try and put out anything between our after-school program that runs 5 days a week, that has up to like 50 kids a day. We do have a wait list going for that, but we break everything down by season between our clubs, our sports, and our monthly events, and there are a couple months where we put on more than one. For example, we have our upcoming Christmas events, or holiday events, excuse me, that we're partnering with the Visitor Service Board. It's going to be a joint event between our Light the Night and their Carols on the Green. But essentially, I could go on and talk about anything and everything. I'd love to know a little bit what you guys are curious about, but I will say, based off of our little brochure that I've also handed to you guys, we are at the mercy of running all of these programs outside of our office space. We utilize the Field of Dreams, all the beaches, Wildwood Park, and then other venues in towns for a lot of our activities. And we would love to have a community center space. I know Tea Time, there was hopes for that. I know that's kind of been a stalemate. But essentially, we are always looking to provide new and exciting programs for kids and adults. But again, I can go on and on and talk about what we say and do. But for you guys who are here, what do you guys want to know about us?
I want to know what the bike and hike is.
So that was a fall program, and Ed volunteered and told us, he's the chair of our rec commission. We would take the kids biking, essentially, and we'd pick different spots to ride to. So one of our favorite rides was to go ride to the Blue Launchery down in Lovely, and we'd stop by Marconi Beach along the way, hike along the trails, finish out our ride, and then time depending, we'd ride back. Yeah, it was a fun program, but one that we needed at least like 5 or 6 volunteers for. And ever since we took over the after-school program, a lot of our staff has been focused on keeping up day to day with those kids. And we staff the after-school program with 5 staff, a 1-to-10 ratio. And that particular program is a self-sufficient program. All the fees that go into the revolving account go right back into that program. Yeah.
So do the kids need their own bike?
Could you repeat the question for our folks who are online?
Yeah. Just any questions that anybody else has, feel free to fire away. Anything that you guys want to know about the rec department itself.
And the hike, do they have a particular route that they go? Do you have, because I hike a lot, so I was just wondering, and I bike a lot.
Yeah.
So
we try and keep everything centered around the bike path. And the hiking essentially was just various spots that we can find along the route. Like we would go and ride up to Nickerson State Park up in Brewster. We would walk over to Kobe's, grab a scoop of ice cream for them, and walk on back, and parents picked up right there. Yeah.
I just want, that's awesome. I didn't know we could volunteer to help out with these kind of things.
Yeah, volunteers is,
So the kids bring their own bikes just on the same bike?
yes, they do bring their own bikes. They do get inspected, and we've brought them to the 2 local bike shops in town, between Will Capistrano's and Idle Times Bike Shop, to get inspected first. The only thing that we ask is no bikes with training wheels, so you have to be able to ride with a two-wheeler. And these were for grades 2 and 3 was one day, and grades 4 and 5 were another.
So how often would they run that during the week?
So that one ran like twice a week, and we divide those up between the grades 2 and 3 was one day, grades 4 and 5 was another day. And those would typically go on for 2 hours each time. And some, more often than not, we would go over.
And what time would they start after school?
Yeah, right after school, pick them up right at 2, bring them over to where all the bikes are located already, because parents have to drop off their bikes ahead of time. And we typically start either at Little Capistranos or at the times and operate over to the bike path.
Do you have a particular day that you do those? Like there's 2 to 4?
It's, we typically stick to like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays for programming and club days. Because we work weekends, we often don't have the flexibility to be able to run something on a Monday or a Friday. And then we also try and keep up with our sports programs, which typically have like 6 or 7 teams, for every season that we run.
I got a question about the bike path. Is each town responsible for maintaining the bike path within the town?
No, it's a state, it's like
It's a state,
DCR.
it's a state.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
Hello.
Hello.
So if you were able to do like a Thursday, how long into the fall season do you do the bike at night?
So we typically go 6 weeks minimum for our clubs and programs. We start up typically around the end of September, then we're just finishing with our beach season, getting our ducks in a row for registration, and then we're off and running. I will say we haven't run bike and hike in a few years, just because ever since we absorbed the after school program, 3 years ago, it's all of our staff that has typically helped with that program has been working alongside our kids at the after school program. And welcome.
Hi, thank you. Sorry, I'm late.
No, that's okay. Just to catch you up on some of the stuff that we've just been, or some stuff that we've been talking about. We've been just talking about our clubs, our events, our sports, and just kind of what the rec department does.
And that's,
We have a question from one of our online participants. They're wondering, what are the, programs that can use senior volunteers?
Pretty much all, like, anybody, whatever programs they're kind of interested in. I know I'm gonna talk about the after school program a lot, but we have at least 2 people who are just straight volunteers for us, and they're actually high school students who have come to us and asked to volunteer. We're kind of a mixed bag as far as an age range for everybody, anybody and everybody. So we've had people volunteer for everything for us. So there's not one limited program. Like our next club that we're running this December is like a small interim program where we're making holiday arts and crafts with kids for a couple of weeks.
oh,
And that one is particularly hands-on, so I always like having some volunteers and help with that.
yeah, I'm a preschool teacher, so I would enjoy helping with that.
Yeah, I'd love to get your contact info after this, that'd be
Okay.
great. Yeah, what other questions do you guys have?
What is the tracking club?
So we actually had a parent volunteer come to us who is kind of like a survivalist and likes to teach kids about tracking animal footprints, being in nature.
Fun.
So we've actually run that. I want to say I can't remember if it was like a year or 2 that we've been doing this sort of program. It's with Aaron Sestero. His son goes to Eastham Elementary. So we ran for 2nd and 3rd graders first in spring, and then in the fall we offered it in grades 4 and 5. And we use Nature's Classroom that's right by the elementary school, Salt Pond. We've gone to Marconi Beach and gone through trails, and he makes it a lot of fun. Like our last day, which is typically closer to Halloween, he dresses up like Sasquatch and leaves like Sasquatch footprints. He has to warn everybody who's just there enjoying the path. They're like, this is a kid's event. I'm not some sketchy dude running like Sasquatch. But yeah, that's a great one.
Dick, if someone's wondering the handout, if it's something that, I love, you have one to show, so folks on Zoom can,
Yeah,
the little brochure.
what's the best
Wondering
way to
if
do
it's
that?
accessible online, so that's something people can get on your website or?
This will get uploaded to the website.
Okay,
Yeah, this was just
Great.
updated recently.
okay, all
Yeah.
right, wonderful, thank you.
Are there any future pickleball?
I know we always put on indoor pickleball. This upcoming winter, we'll be putting that on again, and we typically reach out and see whether or
That's
not
at the
they,
elementary school?
yes,
Yeah,
it is.
okay. On Saturdays?
Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh, and Sundays, okay.
Yeah, it's for 2 hours each time. I have an email group with them, and then I've also jumped onto the team reach out and asked whether or not they want 2 courts or 1 court, because it is a tighter space in there. With 2 courts, I have to shorten the width of it, but the length remains like regulation size. Yeah, so we'll be some time.
Okay, speaking of length,
Mhm.
you're probably aware that the pickleball courts behind the town hall, the length isn't correct. Like if there's a, 'cause I play pickleball, so if someone does a nice deep serve and it hits the very line, which is, legal in pickleball, you can't get it because you smash into the fence. And I have many spots me where I crash into it and get hurt. So is there any thought to correcting that or,
Yeah, it's definitely something we can talk about more with, anybody who wants
I mean,
to.
it'd be pretty extensive. I think you'd have to actually move.
And this is where, like, anything that has to do with the field dreams or pickleball courts, we always bring in front of the Recreation Commission, and Ed being the chair, can attest to this, and yeah, if there's changes that are to be made with the courts, yeah, we'd love to be able to
Okay.
chat about that.
Are there any thoughts of putting additional courts anywhere?
There's just,
You could tell us where to go.
yeah, there's just no space, because we can't venture further out into the field, and there's no other spot over at Field of Dreams to build in. And our ideal space would be Wiley Park. We'd love to put some courts there, but
Yeah.
because of conservation, we can't do any further building there. The only other spot would be tea time, and there's no projected future as to what that's supposed to look like. So if there are other options for land space for that, yeah, we'd love to hear more about that.
Can I ask, are the activities for the kids or for the adults, or who are the activities on here for?
So this is a mixture of both. And I tried to break them down between the grades that we offer these for. For example, like during the winter time, under sports between basketball and sports club, those are for our elementary school kids. And then when it comes to like adult pickup basketball or pickleball, I sprinkled that in there. But if there's some, like futsal was for, we've offered that before between ages or grades K through, I think we've gone through middle school before. So for any of these ones that don't have a grade listed next to them, I can clarify, but most of the club programs over on the left are strictly for grades like K through 5, K through 6. Because we see a major turnout, that's where we see the most need, so we put out a lot of programs for those
So
kids.
like the painting club or the books and board games, those are all for kids?
Yes,
Related to that, Jacob, someone online is wondering, are there any programs specifically for seniors?
not that we, didn't apply for, no. I know that is one group that we have not done as much for, but it'd be great. Now that, Christine Nickel has her new position and coordinating with the COA, we're interested in collaborating, doing some more projects as well.
Maybe I missed it, I'm sorry, at the beginning of the presentation, but the actual facilities, it's great to hear about the programs, but, so the beaches, which is, beaches that the town operates or is responsible for, both the ponds and the bay, and then also in addition to the pickleball courts or any physical recreational facilities that the town operates or owns.
Okay, so you're looking for, like, just to talk about,
Facilities,
like, just
right.
what we do at the facilities, or
Or
just a list of what they have?
Right, so maybe just a list of, the beaches, just a review real quickly, of any facilities or properties
Mhm.
that the town operates or owns.
Yeah, as far as the recreational ones between the Field of Dreams and the beaches, we typically have a beaches and ponds brochure that's up on our website and that lists out all of our beach facilities. And just with the field and just with playgrounds that, you know, people are able to utilize, that would be one thing that we could add as far as redoing or adding to this brochure that we currently have. Because typically we're always updating, we're always changing, we're always trying to offer more. So any other helpful hints that you could pass along the way, yeah, feel free. But essentially we have, yeah, Field of Dreams, our beaches, and we don't really have much else. There's the bike path, but like I said, that's regulated by the state, it's not really town owned. And then Tea Time, which we've done our Light the Night event. Last year, we had Grinch come visit us and we had other local businesses decorate our beach gate shacks. And we did a nice little lighting ceremony. But sure that property could use a little bit of work, so we can't really operate out there as much. And then our rec office is where we run our holiday club, and that's a smaller size space too, which also limits the number of kids we can take into that program.
Do you do the windmill fairs?
Yeah, so we do open the windmill during the summer. We open the windmills during the windmill weekend. I know this year the library had asked us to have a windmill open during Turnip Fest. I think that's coming up on the 23rd, so 2 Saturdays. And then Jerry Boucher, who's our head miller, used to offer coloring over at the windmill.
Offer what?
Coloring, like
Oh,
with coloring books and
Yeah.
another small
For kids,
program
yeah.
for kids.
oh, nice.
But we love the windmill. It's a great space.
Yeah.
Of course, our folks at home can't see the brochure. Someone asked specifically a question about some of the summer programs. So maybe if you could go over those a little bit. So it looks
Yeah.
like there are quite a few.
There are, our largest one is our summer rec program. And that's, other than working at the beaches, that's where I started out. I was a counselor and a playground lead director over there. But essentially we take in over 100 kids just for that program. We were able to bring back our swim program over the last few years. We were not able to run it through COVID, unfortunately. And then Patrol Pals, I like a lot because we get to partner with our local police department and they set up classes and fun activities to do between the police and fire. We used to offer more family game nights and like weekly volleyball and more weekly programming. Since COVID and since staffing has become an issue, we have not been able to run as many of those like after hours sort of programming. Like we used to offer chess and checkers on Thursdays over at First Encounter Beach. Family games night was like spike ball, cornhole. And then we used to have our lifeguards used to run our weekly volleyball for us. And that was always a fun time. So we used to actually offer a lot more when it came to sports programs, but as we saw a lot of staffing issues like everyone else around town, we haven't been able to put on as much. So we are typically at the mercy of people who are willing to either volunteer or come work for us. Because on top of that, during the summer, we are staffing our beaches. We typically have like 45 employees during the year. 14 of those are racing over to work the beaches. Swim instructors, we always need more of those because the kids love the swim program. And I can't tell you how many people said, I've been doing that swim program ever since I was a 5-year-old back in the 90s and 80s. And it's really special to be able to keep that up. We are over at the transfer station with our balls and cans recycling program for 4 months. We typically take that on between June through September. And to finish off the year, even Christine and myself were over there shoveling all the balls and cans that were left over and finishing that. And that money goes right back into Field of Dreams and sort of programs that is needed. So we try and keep that up every single year. It's been tremendous resource to have. So from there, we have had Challenger Sports come in and offer soccer clinics during the summer, and we have had tennis instructors come in, pickleball instructors come in. But we are only able to do as much as we have with as many people as we have, and we benefit a lot, so I'm always willing to work with everybody and whoever programs people want to run. And as far as our events, we brought back our Father's Day Fishing Derby this past summer. We brought in our summer kickoff dance party over on the Windmill Green. That was a lot of fun. We had DJ JT and Angel Robinson come in, and they're just the life of the party. They were amazing. We offer tug of war. That's typically at First Encounter Beach, and family karaoke is also on the Windmill. And after speaking with JT and Angel, they said that Windmill is one of their favorite venues to ever do DJing or a dance party with. And that's at least our summer events and programs, just briefly. So do you guys have any other questions for me? No? Ed, do you want to talk about the rec commission?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ed Casarella. I chair the Recreation Commission. Just briefly, a little bit about my background. I spent 30 years in recreation for the city of Hartford. When I finally retired up here, I got involved with the rec department. It's just the love of my life. Keeps me young, I think. There's just a couple of points that I'd like to make this afternoon. And the first being, the biggest change and the biggest challenge the rec department has taken on was when they took over the after-school program 3 years ago at the elementary school. From 2 to 5:30 or 5 o'clock, or whatever the parents' time is that they could pick up their kids. It's been a huge success. We have 50 children registered, which is kind of our maximum for the location. We were able to cut the price for the children in half from the previous program. And it's created a lot of stress too. But when I mean stress, I mean good stress. You know, we're basically 2 department person, 2.5. Our former director, Jake is actually the director. He's not the assistant director of Beaches and Recreation. He's the director of Beaches and Recreation, and he's on vacation today.
Thank you, Jake.
And Rick, that's where you are.
So we're really a 2.5, 2 3/4 person department, full-time people. So when I say stress, this afternoon program between 2 and 5, which has to run every day, if for some reason somebody's sick, somebody's out, something, that somebody else has to drop what they're doing and go over to the program. But the program is a great success. The select board in the discussion about a month ago, asked if it could be expanded. It really can't because of the limitations of the elementary school. And staffing too. I mean, you have to provide a 1 to 10 ratio to meet the state regs, which we currently do. And, getting help on a Cape, especially in the winter time, if not even just the winter time, all year round is pretty difficult. And it's tough to get people to only want to work 3.5 hours a day. And to pay them more to stop and shop and pay. But that leads me into the other point I want to make, and I just want to read something out of the Provincetown Independent that was came out on October 17th. And I want what I'm reading from explains a program that's going on in Provincetown. It's a basketball program, but I just want you to be open-minded. It could be anything. It could be a square dancing program. It could be a drama program. It could be a crafts program. It could be just a drop-in program for teenagers. So I'd just like to read a couple paragraphs to give you an idea of what was happening. Chris McKenna turns the key in the lock at the Veterans Memorial Community Center gym at 5:30 p.m. every Wednesday night for pickup basketball. open gym, like this, like these places where friends are made and basketball players are born. This is a quote from Chris. What I try to do is give the kids the confidence and want to play. It keeps them out of trouble, keeps them active and making new friends. And the point I think that I'm making here, and I hope you all get, is that we can't lose sight of the fact that we need a community center in Eastham. And you know, when Jake was explaining programs to you, and somebody asked about adult program stuff, that there's a big gap in the people we serve. The middle school kids, the high school kids, young adults, needless to say, you know, adults. I mean, we kind of pass the responsibility more onto the senior center than onto us, but we're there to do that. And with a community center, it would just open up a whole other world, you know, of opportunity. And, I know all of us being Eastham as residents, we probably weren't too thrilled with our new tax bills. But it's something that we can't let fall by the sideline just because taxes and everything else that's upon us. We have to keep it in our minds and we have to keep pushing forward for it. And, you know, with a community center, you know, like I was just pointing out, this basketball program, it could be any program, you know, and again, yeah, my heart has always been in recreation. I grew up in parks and recreation centers and gymnasiums all my life. And you can't place a value on what that brings. Again, we have a big population out there, middle school, high school, young adults, you know, that are just missing, that we're missing out completely with. And because we don't have facilities, and when Jake talks about crafts, Christmas crafts class, well, that's in the office, the beaches sticker office. I mean, that's a couple tables that we move around and the kids sit around, and if somebody comes in and needs a dump sticker, then somebody has to get up and get the dump sticker. So I just really, you know, I attended online most of the tea time committee meetings, and I think they did a wonderful job with the design, and I just hope it doesn't fall by the sidelines. Yeah,
Where were they going to put this community center?
the tea time property, that's the way
Okay.
the design is, you know,
Okay.
it's slated for.
And would that encompass just more than Eastham?
No,
Or
it'd be an
just
Eastham
Eastham?
Community
Okay.
Center, there'd be a senior center and a rec center.
Oh, you put them together.
Yeah, it'd be one building,
Okay.
So where are they at right now? Where is that all right now?
Well, right now it's on hold.
Why is it on
We have, well, taxes, development, there's the huge, wastewater issue that's gonna face this. That could cost us an exorbitant amount of money. You know, and actually, the wastewater issue kind of leads into this a little more, because once a wastewater plan is adopted, then the density of housing on a T-town property could change. And that's what the town is kind of waiting for, because they want to try to get as many housing units up there in this design as they possibly can. But until they have a wastewater plan, they don't know, you know, how many they can actually put up there.
And maybe, I don't know how much this is related or not, but I don't know what's going on with Willie's right now. You keep hearing stories, right? Would
Willie's
that be
is
a
Willie's.
possibility to buy that? if
I mean,
they-
would the town love to buy it? Sure they would, but, yeah.
Yeah. If it ever.
I mean, I'm a former member of Willie's. I actually think Willie's is a rip down if we buy it, but the property is an ideal piece of
Right.
location to tie everything up there all together.
Right. It's already got utilities and all that.
Yeah, yeah, and then another, well, my own personal belief is that we might have made a mistake, when we redid the high school, we might have been able to add a community center to with a pool, because the high school is definitely in need of a pool. The outcry from everybody in town is they want a pool. So I might have missed the boat there too, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. I think we have to keep our eye on the community center and, hopefully, I mean, there are talks about regional community centers in Brewster and stuff, but you know, my opinion and my thoughts are young. I can't let my 13-year-old get on a bike and go down on a bike path to Brewster in the afternoon, or it could certainly go up to the D-type property. Well, I mean, that's where we stand, and again, our pickleball, if we can find a place for us to build pickleball courts, we'd love to build more pickleball courts.
You're looking for a land.
Love it too.
Huh?
You give us land, we'll build some pickleball courts. Pickleball courts.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you. You guys work hard.
Hey, are there any more questions online? Do we have any more? I'm not seeing any in the chat. Let's see. Feel free to unmute yourself if you're one of our online participants to ask a question.
I do have one more thing to.
Oh, go ahead. Jeff.
Dorothy had mentioned this briefly to me, and Christine also mentioned it, that the town does have a program for anybody who's interested in volunteering and might not be physically able to, or might not be able to transport themselves to said program to help volunteer. And you can essentially have somebody else volunteer on your behalf. And so I think it's called the Angel Program. I'm not very familiar with it, but I'd like to become more familiar. And it's great because any local high school kid who is also interested in like helping out, maybe a senior who's interested in volunteering, can then volunteer on their behalf. They get credit towards receiving community service hours to graduate. And then I think there's like a potential tax write-off or reduction in taxes that the town then would offer for any senior who was then interested. So that's one last thing I wanted to add to anybody interested in volunteering with us.
Okay, again, anybody, any other questions from folks who are here in person? Let's see, we have anyone online who wants to have any additional questions? Any additional questions from our folks joining us through Zoom? You feel free to enter them in the chat or unmute yourself.
There is,
Or the efforts on the,
as far as finding volunteers, it's honestly, it's just a lot of community involvement. So at all of our events, all of our programming where we say, hey, we need volunteers for X, Y, and Z, we're talking to people directly. We have an email blast list that we send out all of our program information, and pretty much every flyer that we put on, volunteers needed, especially for like our sports programs. We get parent volunteers. We put right on our flyer, says volunteers needed for program to run. So as far as people interested in volunteering, you know, a lot of people, they come approach us, and a lot of times it's, you know, I got nothing better to do today. I'll shoot over to the rec department and talk to them about their needs, and we've met some fantastic people. Love having everybody around. I don't know if there are any other questions in the chat.
And I'm not seeing any more. So, what's the best way, Jake and Ed, if folks have questions for you guys, or you're on the website?
Yeah,
or?
they can call us, email us, or just stop by our offices.
Okay.
right here, right?
Yeah, and it's listed on our brochure, and this brochure and the spreadsheet will go up on our website, shortly, so, but our phone number is listed on our website.
Okay.
too.
All right.
And the Recreation Commission meets once a month, and those meetings are posted, everybody open to the public, it's at the rec office.
Are you looking for any more members on the recreation?
Now, right now, the commission's
Full.
full, I know we have a couple of people, that are interested in getting on a commission, but until the spot opens up.
Okay. All right. Well, without hearing or seeing any more questions, thank you so much. This is really helpful. It's very informative. Special kudos to Jacob for coming in on his day off. So hopefully that'll go into your review.
Scratch that for many minutes.
I want to make one comment. Those dogs that are in the field of dreams.
Oh, those coyotes and hideouts? Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing when it's really, really, really windy and they're like bouncing like a horse, I think one of them broke because of that. Because it was like, did you notice that one of them was broken?
Oh, I've been off for last week.
Oh, yeah, okay, so one of them was like.
So maybe on the way out, we'll go stop by and look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's, I think just because it snapped because it was so windy.
Oh,
But anyways, yeah.
we actually had a kid break that, and
Oh,
that was me trying, so we fixed it, so it just must have come loose again.
oh,
Yeah, a kid wanted to like swing the little part of the rod like a sword at his brother and chase him down.
okay.
He couldn't.
Anyways, when I think about, we always see the geese flying there. We haven't seen one goose since they've been up.
Good.
Yeah, they're amazing.
There was one more comment or suggestion, maybe advertise the Cape Cod Times to find volunteers if you're not finding adequate number of volunteers.
Right.
So get the word out. Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody for showing a good conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
See, I'm a mom.
That's my everyday, it's like,